strength coach. Like I had the most popular blog as in out of all the strength coaches with my Alexa ranking. That was important to me. I threw it all aside. I quit Facebook, I quit YouTube, I quit Twitter, and I quit blogging, and I quit sending out newsletters, and I went all in on Instagram. I'm like, my brother's like, it's the wave of the future. I'm like, how? You can't even link. He's like, just trust me. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna trust him. And my my boy, was that a good bet? Like a good
Yeah.
gambled, and my popularity. So anyway, what happened with the hip thrust was you had Instagram startup, and the strength coaches would try to like join Instagram, and they weren't blowing up. They're used to just like living off their reputation. Instagram didn't care about reputations.
Yeah.
You'd have some woman with a nice butt with like 10 million followers, and we were like, I'd have like 5,000 followers like when I started. And I'm like, how do you get to 10 million followers? And this girl would write like, "Oh my God, I love hip thrusts. Hip thrusts are my favorite glute exercise." And a strength coach would come on and be like, "Hip thrusts are stupid. Just squat." And she'd go, "I've squatted for years, you effing idiot. It never did anything for my glutes. Hip thrusts work better." And that would get like 500 likes in his comment, and everyone would rip on that guy. It shut the men up. The men, there were so many male haters that hated hip thrusts just because they were jealous.
Yeah.
If these guys actually did hip thrusts the way I do them, every guy, I mean, I train big, strong dudes. Their glutes burn so bad. They're like, Bret, help me up, help me up. Get this bar off of me, help me up, because their glutes are so
I literally today, Brett, I filmed this glute finisher to in honor of our podcast today, and in my video, my glutes literally went in knots and it
yeah,
cramped up so bad. And I'm like,
right.
you know how much growth we can see even in men. I mean, I'm speaking for the ladies here. You like the glutes? Don't neglect the glutes. The glutes are
But
amped
that
up.
was the turning point for hip thrust, though, is when Instagram, all these women were so much more popular than the male
Yeah,
authorities. And the tides turned, and all of a sudden the women have the authority, at least on Instagram. And no one cares about this, what this angry strength coach has to say who's lost in the 90s. So that's when hip thrust started blowing up worldwide. And it was cool to witness because I feel like that really helped increase
yeah,
the popularity of hip thrust and glute training in general, and it was fun for me. And then you mentioned how guys weren't doing it. One day I'm like just waking up and like I'm getting all these DMs coming in like, oh my God, check it out. And it's The Rock, the
yes,
fucking Rock doing hip thrusts. Am I allowed to swear on here?
yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
Of course.
keep it out. The fucking Rock is doing hip thrusts. I'm like, I feel like I died and went to heaven. I'm like, yes. And then like James Harrison, the football player, was doing hip thrusts. You can't have two manlier guys than James Harrison and The Rock.
The Rock.
So what are guys gonna say? Like, ooh, hip thrusts are sissy exercise, and these two guys could beat the living crap out of you, and they're happily doing hip thrusts. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's when it's like, okay, this is legit. This is a legit exercise.